Hello, this video is intended to help introduce you to academic culture at UCSB by explaining some classroom expectations and how you sign up for classes, how you communicate with professors. We'll cover how to read Gold, different kinds of class formats that you can expect at UCSB, how to negotiate wait lists and how to crash classes, finding your way around Gaucho space, and how to find other support and resources for your academic success. Understanding Gold. So Gold is Gaucho online data, as you can see right here. Gaucho online data. Gold is where you will sign up for classes. You'll be able to view your class schedule. You will be able to find out all sorts of things. You're going to log in on this side as a current student using your UCSB NetID and password. And then you just click Login. So you can use Gold to find classes. If you are an incoming freshman student, your classes will be selected for you. So you won't be selecting classes for yourself during your first quarter, but after that you will, and you'll use Gold to find out what's available. You can search for courses, looking for majors, departments, different kinds of search criteria, what fits your schedule, and then you can learn a lot about the class by being on Gold. I wanted to show you what a class looks like that has a wait list. As you can see, this class has a wait list right here. This is Introduction to Environmental Studies. There's some other interesting things to see here. There's a main class that holds 257 people. That's full. Then there are also all sorts of these other classes that are connected. You can see how they're all connected in one block here on Gaucho space, on Gold. They're all connected. This is the lecture, the large group, and then the smaller groups are sections. Some classes will have a lecture and a section. You're expected to go to both. The lecture is very large, and that's usually taught by a professor. The sections are much smaller, and they give you a chance to interact, to ask questions. They're often led by a graduate student, but they're also very important to attend. So what you would need to do if you wanted to take this class, well, right now there's actually a wait list, so you'd have to make sure you can get on the wait list. But then you could also sign up for one of the sections that some of them still have space available. So you can also check when your final exam will be for this class, and you want to be sure that none of your classes have conflicts with the timing of their finals, because your professor cannot reschedule the final for one or two students. You have to make sure your final schedule works, as well as your academic quarter schedule works. Keep in mind that the academic quarter does go very, very, very quickly. So you cannot miss a single class. If you miss one class out of the quarter, that's 10% of the classes for that class. So please be very cautious about missing classes. Here's another example of classes that do not yet have a wait list. And now these ones you can see. This is for a linguistics class. You can see how many units you can get. You can see that you can get a letter grade for this. And you can see a bunch of different times that it's offered. This is different than when there is a lecture and a section. These are just individual classes that are offered at different times. So you can choose whichever one would fit into your schedule the best. Some things you want to consider are where the classes are located. UCSB is a pretty large campus, so sometimes students might find that they have a class that's on the far side of campus and they only have a few minutes to get there between the time one class ends and the other class begins. You definitely want to arrive on time. Arriving late to class is considered very rude. So please arrive on time for both your classes and your sections. So if you're trying to get onto a wait list, there's more about this on the Gold website, but you just click the Add to Waitlist button and you enter your information here and why you would like to do this. But the important thing to keep in mind is even if you sign up for the waitlist, you should go to the class as though you were added. Especially the first week, go to the class. If you are registered for the class, also go to the class. If you miss the first class, your professor might drop you and put in somebody who's waiting to add the class. There's also another option at UCSB, which is called crashing a class. And this is something that happens a lot in the US, but if you can't get into a class that you'd like to take because it shows up on Gold as being already full, you can show up and ask the professor to add you. This is called crashing a class. You do that by either emailing the professor prior to the class or just showing up on the first day, and then usually at the end of class, the professor will say, anybody that's interested in crashing the class, please come see me, and they will give add codes to allow you to enter a special code into Gold to add the class if you are selected to be a course crasher. So that's something that can be a little tricky, but it's not uncommon at all. One thing to remember as an international student is that you must maintain full-time enrollment. For undergraduate students, this means 12 units every quarter, fall, winter, and spring. For graduate students, it's 8 units every quarter, fall, winter, and spring. So even if you can't get the class you want, be sure you are enrolled for sure in the minimum number of units, either 12 units or 8 units. You can always drop them after the first couple of weeks. If you need to sign up for a class you're not sure about, it's not uncommon to adjust your schedule during that first week. But you must be sure that even if you add this class or you drop that class, don't drop below the minimum number of units. So if you're signed up for 12 units and you're trying to add another class, wait until you get confirmation that you were able to add that class before dropping something else. Just be sure you stay in your full-time enrollment. If you're unable to maintain full-time enrollment, it's just too stressful or you're having medical issues, OISS can help you, but you must meet with an OISS advisor to request a reduced course load. So please contact OISS if you need to drop below 12 units or 8 units at any time during the quarter. Okay, I wanted to talk a little about academic communication because this is an area that comes up for some international students. At UCSB, you are expected to participate in class when you are asked to do so. So not always in the very large lectures, but in smaller classes and in section. And if you are in a seminar, you will definitely be expected to participate. In many classes, your participation will be part of your grade. So be sure if the teacher asks you questions that you respond and give your best guess. It's okay if your best guess is incorrect. You are here to learn. Professors know you are here to learn, but you are expected to participate. Also, be sure you focus on the speaker. Even in a large lecture, try to limit your use of distracting devices such as your phone or laptop. Unless you're using your laptop to take notes, please do not shop online. Please do not play video games. Please do not watch movies. This is very rude to the speaker. And it's also distracting to your classmates. So even if it's in a very large room where you don't think you would be noticed, it's just considered rude. Please try to focus on the speaker. You're paying to be here and you're paying to listen to them. So do your best to focus on what they have to say. Also, before you contact your professor with a question about your class, such as a question about an assignment or when an exam is going to be given, be sure you have looked at the syllabus and at Gaucho Space. We'll talk a little bit more about Gaucho Space later. The syllabus is the summary of what your class will be covering on different dates and there's often a lot of information there about assignments. So it's okay to ask questions, but be sure you do your best to review the information you've already been given. You do not want to ask a question if the teacher has already given you the answer. You want to show that you're paying attention and you're taking responsibility for your own education. Another thing is that even though UCSB tends to be a fairly casual academic environment, you should still address your professor as doctor or professor unless directed otherwise. Some professors or instructors are very comfortable being referred to by their first name, but it's best to start formal, and if the professor chooses, you may use a less formal address. But please start with calling all your professors doctor or professor. Finally, take advantage of office hours. All professors and TAs have specific times each week that they are available to meet with students. This is a great opportunity to build a relationship with your professor or TA. These relationships can be very helpful as you go to get letters of recommendation or to look for research opportunities later in your academic career. So take the time to build a relationship with your professor or TA by visiting office hours. When you are communicating with an instructor, either a professor or TA, you want to show some respect. This would be an example of an email that does not show very much respect. This is an email that looks more like a text you might send to a friend. It's, "Hi, want to get you my paper. What's the Gaucho space?" As a student in the class, you should be familiar with how to access the course Gaucho space where you can submit your paper. If you absolutely cannot get this information anywhere else, you could ask your professor, but even in that case, you would want to have a more formal tone to your message. For example, you might send a message that said, "Dear Dr. Singh, thank you for clarifying your expectations for the assignment. I have uploaded the document to Gaucho Space. I appreciate your guidance. Regards, Chris," which happens to be my name. You would use your own name. But do take the time to be polite and respectful in your emails to your professors, if it's necessary to send any. There are a lot of resources where you can get information. It is okay to be learning to learn while you're at UCSB. We hope that you will continue to learn how to learn more and more effectively while you are here. Gaucho Space is one place that you can get a lot of information about your specific classes. Your syllabus for each class will include a lot of information. It's also a great idea when you start a class to get a phone number or contact information for a classmate, so that if you need information on an assignment or if you have to miss a class, you have somebody that you can contact. It is much better to contact a classmate than to contact the professor directly about some small issue. So if you're unable to attend a class, your classmate can help you out. Your TA stands for Teaching Assistant, is usually a graduate student that will help during some classes or often during sections. You can speak to a TA during the section or during office hours to get help. You can talk to your professor during their office hours. And also, if you have larger questions, you can meet with your department advisor. Each academic department has an undergraduate and a graduate advisor. Also, each college has advisors. Letters in Science, Engineering, College of Creative Studies, also Bren and GGSE, all have their own college advisors that can help you. If you have a question about immigration or how certain academic changes might affect your visa, you can contact OISS. We are here to help you. There's also a great resource called Gaucho Goals that can put you in touch with a lot of the things available at UCSB. We'll talk about that in a minute. And finally, the UCSB website. The UCSB website, right here is the homepage, just ucsb.edu, has a lot of information. And more important, it has a great search feature. So you can use this search feature. Just go up here to the corner drop down this little thing here, and then you will go over here to type in whatever keywords or questions you have, and hopefully you can get some information. You can also find faculty and staff contact emails and student contact emails here. So this is a great resource. Use this resource whenever possible. We want you to be able to find the information you need. We find that that's much better for you than just giving you the answer. I want you to know where to look for answers, and the UCSB website is a great place to start. So let's talk about Gaucho Space. Gaucho Space is used for undergraduate and graduate classes, and it's basically the course management system that UCSB uses. If you're familiar with Moodle, which is an open source platform, Gaucho Space is a type of Moodle. So for each class you have, you'll be able to find your classes here under My Courses, and your classes will show up here. These are ones that I've made for Cali training. They're not actual classes, but I think you can get the idea. There's also this part over here called Gaucho Goals. We'll talk about that in a second. But you'll find lots of information on Gaucho Space. Here's what one course might look like. It'll have different week-by-week assignments. There can be spaces where you can submit assignments. There can be a space here where your instructor can post announcements. You might be expected to participate in forums. These are all things that you can do on Gaucho Space. And I hope that you've completed Cali training online. Cali Online will help you practice using Gaucho Space, which is one of the things that's very important about it, so that you can become comfortable with this interface. Almost all classes use Gaucho Space, not all, but most. So it's very worth your time to learn how to get around, how to navigate it. So Gaucho Goals was one of the things within Gaucho Space, and it's pretty cool. As you can see, there's all these links to different things up here along the top. Health and well-being, academic success, community and involvement, Gaucho challenges, navigating UCSB general resources, navigating yourself, identity resources, and a resource list. So if you're having any questions, you're trying to find a club, you're not sure where to go to look, these are great ways to find the different resources that are available to you. I strongly suggest you spend some time just poking around in Gaucho Goals just to see what's there, and it'll be there when you need it. So that's kind of a brief summary. I wanted to set you up before we have our video chat, which will be following up to this. We are here to help you, so please be confident reaching out to OISS, and we can help guide you through this process. Your academic success is very important to us, so anything we can do to help you, please let us know.